Yes, you. You've been there. Staring at the screen after another failed attempt, wondering if any of it is worth it. Breathing heavily after missing the mark again, despite giving it everything you had. Holding back tears while trying to hold everything else together. The deadlines, the pressure, the expectations. You are not alone. Because the truth is, life doesn't always reward you right away. Sometimes it feels like you're putting in so much effort and getting so little in return. And in those moments, quitting starts to look like a relief. But then comes a quiet voice. Walt Disney once said, "The difference between winning and losing is most often not quitting." Let that sit with you for a moment. Not quitting. That's it. That's the hinge everything turns on. Think of the time you felt like walking away, when the results didn't come fast enough, when the rejections piled up, when motivation disappeared. Because sometimes the biggest battle isn't about getting ahead. It's about not giving up. Not giving in when progress is slow. Not backing down when the world feels loud and your confidence feels small. What if the only real failure was quitting too soon? However, this quote isn't just another line printed on a coffee mug. It's not something we say to make ourselves feel better after a rough day. It's a principle, a deep truth that echoes behind every story of resilience, behind every breakthrough that once looked like a dead end. The difference between winning and losing is most often not quitting. That's not just wishful thinking. It's clear and consistent if you're willing to look close enough. Because success rarely belongs to the most naturally gifted. It doesn't always favor the smartest, the fastest, or even the most experienced. More often, it finds the ones who refuse to give up, the ones who stay when it would be easier to walk away. You've seen it. The job seeker who sends 50 or even 100 applications, getting rejection after rejection until finally, one email changes everything. The small business owner who stumbles, fails, and rebuilds not once, but over and over, learning with every setback until she finally gets it right. Or the person waging war with their own habits, falling off track, but getting back up each time until one day the change sticks. These aren't stories of perfection. They're stories of persistence. And that's where the power lies. Not in talent, not in luck, but in the choice to keep showing up. Because persistence beats perfection every time. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't have to get it right on the first, second, or even 10th try. You just have to stay in it. Keep showing up. That quiet kind of courage. The kind that chooses to try again when everything in you is screaming to quit. That's what moves the needle. That's what builds momentum. Because progress isn't always loud. It doesn't always come in big wins or clear signs. Sometimes it shows up in inches, in subtle shifts, in the simple act of not giving in. So think back. Can you name a moment where you nearly gave up? A time when walking away seemed like the smarter options, but something inside you said, "Not yet." Maybe you didn't see change right away. Maybe you still questioned if it was worth it. But eventually, things began to move. That's the quiet reward of staying the course. That's the message hiding behind Walt Disney's words. It's not about being the best. It's about not stopping. Inch by inch, moment by moment. That's how winning happens. Let's be honest, quitting feels like relief. It offers a quick exit when the roads get rough. It promises comfort, closure, and sometimes the illusion of control. Like you're reclaiming your power by choosing to walk away. And truthfully, sometimes quitting is the right call. But far too often, we give up not because it's the best decision, but because we're exhausted, discouraged, frustrated by the silence and the slow progress. We walk away because we can't yet see what's growing underneath. That fleeting sense of relief from quitting can feel like freedom in the moment. But what if it's followed by the kind of regret that lingers longer? The what if kind. The kind that whispers at night. What if you had just tried one more time? The reality is, we often stop not because the journey is finished, but because we don't realize how close we are to breakthrough. We mislead fatigue as failure. We assume the silence means we're not getting anywhere. But sometimes, right after that lowest moment, right after the doubt sets in, is when the breakthrough is about to happen. Think of digging for gold. You've been at it for months, maybe years. And just inches from the vein, you stop, you walk away, unaware of how close you really were. That's what quitting too soon can look like. Or think of planting a seed. You water it. You wait. Days go by, then weeks. Still, the soil looks the same. But underneath, roots are forming. The foundation is building, strong, silent, and essential. Just because you can't see the growth yet doesn't mean it's not happening. That's the quiet power of perseverance. It's not glamorous, it's not instant, but it's what makes the difference. Not talent, because we've all watched talented people give up. Not timing, because the perfect moment rarely announces itself. Not even luck, because luck can't replace consistency. It's about staying, showing up, holding on, refusing to let go even when the reward feels far away. That's what separates those who make it from those who almost did. Because progress doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers, "Keep going." And that brings us to Walt Disney's words. The difference between winning and losing is most often not quitting. Let that truth land. Let it breathe. Because it's not just a quote for inspiration posters. It's a mindset, a challenge, a call to keep digging, keep believing. When everything in you wants to throw in the towel, remember, maybe the next step is the one that changes everything. Maybe you're closer than you think. Meanwhile, this message isn't just for athletes chasing medals or entrepreneurs building empires. It's for you right here, right now, in whatever chapter you're in. Whether you're trying to finish a project, rebuild after a setback, or simply keep going when everything feels slow and uncertain. Maybe you've got a creative idea collecting dust, a degree that's testing your patience, or a goal you've kept tucked away because it feels too far out of reach. Whatever it is, if the thought of quitting has been on your mind, pause. Not to shame yourself, but to get honest. Because sometimes, what feels like failure is really just fatigue. Sometimes, what we label as the end is just a bend in the road. Start with one question. Why do I want to quit? Is this burnout or is it fear? Is the path truly a dead end or just harder than expected right now? Then flip it. What might happen if you gave it one more honest try? Not a flawless comeback, not some dramatic push, just one small, steady step forward. Because most of the time, that's all it takes to shift momentum. One phone call, one paragraph, One workout, one day where you show up despite the doubts. Tiny moves add up, especially when made consistently. From there, build a plan to not quit. Write it down, say it out loud, share it with someone who can hold you to it. Track your little victories, the moments you stayed when it would have been easier to walk away. Progress rarely shows up in big, dramatic moments. It grows quietly, through repetition, through commitment, through the choice to return again and again. That's the heart of perseverance. Not being fearless, not being unbreakable, but being willing to begin again, even after frustration and failure. Because in the end, you don't need to sprint. You just need to keep walking, one deliberate step after another. The journey doesn't reward those who never fall, it rewards those who rise anyway. So whatever you're facing today, remember this. The difference between winning and losing is most often not quitting. Let that truth guide you forward, not perfectly, but steadily. You're not as far as you think. Keep going. Most of the people who made it almost didn't. They were the ones who faced rejection, silence, and empty rooms, yet still found a way to keep going. Think of the author who was turned down by 20 publishers before finally landing on the bestseller list. Or the musician who poured her heart into performances no one showed up for, long before the world knew her name. And then there's the everyday person, the one who showed up when no one clapped, when no one noticed, and when every reason to quit felt justified. What they all share isn't luck, talent, or perfect timing. It's grit. It's that quiet decision to keep moving forward, even when the road felt pointless. The truth is, the reward doesn't always come when you want it. It doesn't follow your timeline, but it often shows up right after the moment you were most ready to quit. That's the test. The wall you hit isn't always the end. It's often the signal that you're near something worth reaching. Most people give up at that point, mistaking discomfort for a sign to walk away. But those who push a little further, who pause, breathe, rest if they need to, but don't throw in the towel, those are the ones who find out what's on the other side of struggle. So, if you're tired right now, it's okay. You don't have to pretend you're fine. You don't have to go all in. You just have to stay in it. Take a break if your soul needs one, but don't confuse fatigue with finality. Don't let the frustration of slow progress convince you that you're not progressing at all. Some of the greatest growth happens when nothing seems to be moving. That's when character is built, vision is tested, and resilience takes root. Remember Walt Disney's words. The difference between winning and losing is most often not quitting. Let that sink in. Winning isn't always about doing more or being better. Sometimes it's about enduring just one moment longer than the rest. It's about holding the line when everything in you wants to let go. So if you're standing at the edge of giving up, don't. You might be closer than you think. Keep going. If something in this video spoke to your journey, a sentence, a moment, or the quote itself, let us know in the comments. We read every message. We created this space with one simple purpose: to help you pause, to help you reflect, and to help you move forward with just a little more clarity than before. Every video here is designed to meet you exactly where you are. No judgment, no pressure. Just a quiet reminder that you're not alone and you're not stuck. Growth isn't always loud or obvious. Sometimes it's happening quietly, in the background, even when you can't see it. So before you go, Take a moment. Ask yourself, what's something I'm choosing not to quit on today? What part of this message made me stop and think? Your answers matter. They're the first steps toward change, even if they're small. You don't have to climb the whole mountain today. You just have to keep moving. This isn't about pushing blindly. It's about believing, deep down, that something better might be ahead. And maybe all it takes to reach it is choosing one more time not to give up.